Hello, my name is Jessie with Linxup, and I am talking to you today about our product and our GPS solution, but even more in depth into our mower tracker solution and how you can utilize that to provide proof of service and the other benefits that come along with that. So jumping right in. At Linxup, we were founded in 2004. We have about 45,000 customers and almost 200,000 devices in the field across Canada and the US that we're tracking. We've been a partner with Real Green now for probably a little over a year, maybe a little bit more than that. And we have found that it's a really great complement to their solution when you're able to have the field services software, being able to do, utilize all of the different tools and features within Real Green, and then also utilizing Linxup to just provide additional color and that GPS tracking to help you manage your fleet as well as your field technicians. We are a US-based operations. Most of us are based here in St. Louis, so we're right in the middle of the country. So our fulfillment team is based here, our support team, R&D, we don't outsource anything. If you do need, trackers or device swaps, warranty issues, anything like that, as I mentioned, the fulfillment team is here, so we are able to get you devices fairly quickly. We can ship it out same day, and with not having to go coast to coast or anything like that, you usually get devices within a couple days. We do pride ourselves on being one of the easiest, simple to use GPS systems available. We are pretty flexible as far as contract terms, devices we offer. So whatever your needs may be, we're more than happy to meet you where you are and figure out what would work best for you. We have plug-in devices, wired devices. You're able to access our solution and portal from, a computer login, but we also have a free mobile app with as many users as you would need. We have month-to-month contract options, or if you're wanting to lower the cost of hardware, we can do, do a contract to subsidize some of that pricing. We'd never have activation fees. We don't have auto renewals on our contract or anything like that. We have pretty much, upfront pricing. You get everything that we offer with our pricing, and there's no other gotchas or, the fine print anywhere that that'll come back to get you. The features that we have include geofencing, driving behaviors and safety scorecards, route replays, idle time alerts and reporting, unauthorized use reporting that is customizable, so you can set when you would have authorized use in your standard times that you would expect that vehicle or equipment to be in use, and then if it's outside of that, you would get alerted or notified. Maintenance, preventative maintenance, able to schedule that and put in the preventative maintenance notifications. Diagnostic codes, if there is a check engine alert light that is on, you will be notified of that in the portal. Any alert that you could possibly imagine on speeding, rapid acceleration, harsh braking, some of the more dangerous accident-prone behaviors, but then also things that can help you just manage your fleet overall, like time, first ignition of the day, stop times, idle times, geofence alerts, so that if you put a geofence around a specific work site, you'll know how long they were exactly in that area, how much, maybe there was a job that was bid for 45 minutes, but they were there for an hour and a half, and it turns out that 45 minutes of it was prep time. So being able to make those adjustments based on some geofence activity and running reporting on that you're not having to manually go in and check all of that, that you'll have some red flags thrown up in front of you that you can go in and dive a little deeper. We also have an add-on product to our tracking, that's our dash cam product. And with the dash cam, you'll get a 20-second video clip with every alert, 10 seconds before and 10 seconds after. This just adds that additional layer of color. If there's a harsh braking alert, you can go in and view in the camera or in the cab or outside. It's an internal and external facing camera, and see, was this a harsh braking because someone was cut off? And this is behaviors that we would expect to see, or is this because they're, maybe potentially the driver has a coachable moment here and isn't following your fleet safety policy and is either eating their lunch or on their phone or distracted in some other way, and that was the cause of it. So really able to go in and get all of the data, have all that information in front of you, and then be able to manage accordingly. So GPS solves for these problems that are usually, the issues that you would have with a group of technicians or landscapers in this case, whatever it may be out in the field. So being able to know where those assets are, this goes for vehicles as well as trailers, mowers, spreaders, any of your equipment for theft prevention, knowing where those assets are, if they are stolen, having a faster recovery time, but also just being able to manage all of that out in the field. Monitoring the driver behavior, validating time cards, as I mentioned, being able to go and see when the first ignition was, when they arrived at a job site, when they left, how long they spent in that geofence, how long they were stopped, reducing fuel cost with the idling alerts, as well as being able to go back and look at route replays if there was more efficient ways and coaching that can happen around that, avoiding surprise breakdowns with having the preventative maintenance alerts, protecting against theft, recording those event-driven videos like I mentioned with our dash cam product, optimize dispatching with real-time location, preventing unauthorized use, and then minimizing overall liability. As a whole, solving those problems can lead to quite a return on that investment and saving some money. You're able to potentially talk to your insurance company and see if, because of the fact that you're taking proactive approach to ensuring that you have a safe fleet out on the road, some different insurance companies will give you different breaks or discounts. The unauthorized use piece, as I mentioned, if they do take the equipment home or the vehicles home, being able to monitor if that piece of equipment is in use, if it's moved, if the vehicle is being used. And this could be an early theft alert, if it's the middle of the night and the vehicle or the piece of equipment starts moving, to get an alert in that moment to be able to faster recover. You could potentially recover it by the morning before it would even be, missed from job or having to work around it with your scheduling. But it can also be, personal use or side jobs. And then the fuel cost, being able to have more efficient, a fuel reporting, and then also just having the theft recovery and being able to locate that tracker at any time. So here's what some Real Green customers are saying. This was from John Taylor, who's the facilities manager at the Richmond, Virginia Green. And he, when I spoke with him, he was just saying that they had just had a meeting the other day and discussed how it's just a super easy tool to use, that it's very intuitive, very, there's icons there, there's buttons that you click on. It's nothing that you're having to dig through to try to find how to, schedule, get any of your reports or anything like that. He said that's the biggest takeaway, period. It's just so easy and simple to use. Also being able to create and change geofences, that helps. That's what I was mentioning earlier with setting up geofences around work sites or locations to then get additional tracking and reporting into that as far as how long they were on site, what time did they arrive, what time did they leave, and have all of that, automated in a report that you're not having to go through and watch route replays and track where they were. And then he was mentioning that it was just hands down a very big difference from their previous provider. So here's a look at that geofence that I was mentioning. So here you can set up these geofences around, a work site or even around your office. So, or, wherever all these vehicles and equipment might be in the evenings, to again get that alert if there's a theft, if in progress, or if something's just happening that shouldn't be. But then on top of that, as I said, you can get this reporting, as you'll see on that right-hand rail there, that you can set up different geofences and work sites. You get when they entered, when they exited, how long they were there. There's additional on the top rail there, there's a icon for reports. You can go in and drill in and get really detailed in any of this information. But we have found that with most of the landscape companies that we work with and partner with, this geofence feature is really, really helpful in helping them, future bid, helping them to keep track of their crews and see if there's any additional coaching that needs to take place. Here is this is kind of our report dashboard. This is where a lot of our reports roll up into this. And you'll see there's reporting that you can get into and dive deeper in all of those. The left-hand rail has more specific reports, but you can go into the mileage and track mileage this way. You can go into the safety scorecard. We automatically assign a safety scorecard to a driver. You can change the date range. You can change if you wanted to look at a particular group, if you were a manager overall, how your team was doing. But then we do way heavier, harsh braking, rapid acceleration than a speeding alert, let's say. So it does take all of that into consideration to really give an accurate portrayal of, is this someone that occasionally, goes over the speed limit by a few miles per hour, or is this someone that like needs some, there's a red flag here that we really need to address, safety on the road with this driver. Stop times, how long they were there, where they were at, and then idling. And as I mentioned earlier, vehicles aren't the only things that we track. We can track any type of equipment, heavy equipment, construction equipment, light equipment, forklifts, anything like that. But specifically the trailers that a lot of you are probably using, and then the equipment on those trailers. And that brings us to our mower tracker, which was kind of, wanting to dig into this a little bit more for this particular webinar. Our mower tracker is actually one of our asset trackers. So it's configured a little bit differently so that you can then go back and, as you'll see on that top picture there, it'll show you the exact path that was taken over that particular piece of land, shows, which way they were going. It'll plot it all out on the map and shows, really detailed and granularly exactly what that service was and when it took place. But also on top of this, it is still just an asset tracker. So even when it's not being used, while it's mowing, you are able to use this as just tracking, GPS tracking. And so in some of our research, we found that there's over $1 billion of equipment stolen every year. And quite a bit of that, about 40% of that, is usually mowers because they're so easy to resell. And we've actually heard that this year there's a little bit of a mower shortage. And so the mower theft is really becoming an issue that is creeping up and costing a lot of companies a lot of money. So then, using this for just location of it, theft prevention, theft recovery, but then using it as that proof of service. You can show, if someone wasn't home at the time, this is when we were there, put it on a fertilizer or a spreader even, and then show, that's something that's not quite as visible to know if it happened or not. Also, then you can use this because bids can easily be wrong and outdated if they're not, if they're not accounted for unbilled prep work. So you can see, okay, they were there, like I said earlier, for X amount of time, but this is the time they were actually spent mowing. So, which gives a little bit more granular detail than just a vehicle tracker that they were here this whole time. Were they mowing that whole time? When were they mowing? How long did that take? Because we actually recently spoke with one of our landscape companies just in some R&D and feedback on the mower tracker, and they were saying that it's really great, and they use it more for a training purposes because they have a lot of new young professionals that are getting into the field, and labor shortages are just causing inefficiencies in general with their whole operation because the crews just aren't as experienced, and so they need to be monitored a little bit more closely. They're spot checking and really using this on some of their newer crews to then go in and look and say, you know what, this actually, you need to be cutting this north to south versus east to west. It's less turns, it would take less time. Just little things that an inexperienced crew might not be thinking about or aware of, but really make a big difference if you can fit in an extra job that day or an extra 2 jobs that day because they get more efficient at the jobs they're doing. Here's some more examples of how different customers are using the mower tracker, both for SRH trees, which they do, kind of mowing of the side of the highway. They have highway work. And then also Indiana University, which is a huge campus that they're maintaining. they both use this as, okay, this is what we did yesterday. This is the area that we hit. Now they know where to pick up, what's been done, when it was done. Okay, is it time to go back to this, site or this location, this area? But to really just have, again, that granular tracking of, okay, it was this many days since we've hit this particular area of the highway, or this is where we left off yesterday, so here's where we need to pick up today, and to have that cold hard data there and take the guesswork out of it. And then, as I mentioned, it's not just for mowers, so it really is anything with with that 24-volt battery and has ignition. So this could be tractors, aerators, power sprayers, even, ATVs and four-wheelers with attachments on them, that this is able to show that granular detail with that higher ping rate of exactly where they've been. But then on top of that, just to have an asset tracker on it in general to know, if you think it's in the trailer, that it's there, if it's stolen, where it went, how to, how quickly you can recover it, and to just overall be able to track all of your equipment in the field. So that's really, kind of a deeper dive into that mower tracker, and then, an overview of our solution as a whole. If you have any questions, you're interested in any information, there is a landing page, a website that you can go to, but here's my contact information that you can reach out to me at any time. I am the partnership channel manager, so I deal with all of the Real Green customers, and I work directly with Real Green as well on our partnership and what we can be doing for you as their customers as well. So that's pretty much it. I don't know if we had any questions come in.
Yeah. No questions have come in.
Okay, well then that sounds good. I believe this webinar will be sent out also to everyone that registered and attended. And again, if there's any questions or any feedback, please feel free to reach out to me at any time.